What's up, guys? Before I get into this too far, I wanted to say thank you to a few people. First and foremost, Adrian Ward and his Flywheel the World project. When he shared that sleeper recon and then showed the cage, I knew that I had to have it so that I could make this. And he has been extremely generous and has been working with me on this. And I mean, that's such a huge thing to share this with me. So this whole project wouldn't have happened without his design. He knew more about flywheel than me. That is not where my area of expertise is. So I couldn't have done it without him. Next, I wanted to thank the 8 people who have purchased them from me so far. I would like to keep selling them, but I am so booked. And those 8 people have taken a huge chance on what I've made without really seeing it firsthand, without knowing for real if it would work or not. That is huge to me. You guys are amazing. And I wanted to say thank you to Jangular for sharing my Etsy shop on his Nerf news a month or 2 back. That was a big deal to me that I actually sold out of the 4 that I had listed there. I mean, that's just amazing. And the whole community and a lot of people, everyone who's talked to me about this, it's been amazing to see the support. And it's just been amazing. This is the Pigeon. This is a semi-automatic flywheel Magfed sidearm. It is designed very specifically to be a sidearm. I had 3 design goals. The first goal was size. That's probably the primary goal. I wanted this to be compact. I wanted it to be easy to use. I wanted it to be small. It had to be small, or it's kind of it doesn't serve the function that I needed. As I've been using less conventional blasters like shotguns, the ASG, but also the Spring Thunder and stuff like that, just these more out of the box things, I found that I needed something to compensate for the weaknesses that are kind of inherent in those designs. Shotguns are great, but they have low range, they have low rate of fire. The Spring Thunder has a really good rate of fire, comparatively speaking, but it's still fairly slow. So I needed something to compensate more than anything. I've got a prophecy now. I might make a video on that someday. And, that's a high power, low rate of fire blaster. I wanted something that could complement that too. Something that I could draw if someone got close and I needed to have a close range, easy to use weapon. That's the first goal. The second goal was ergonomics. I wanted this to be comfortable. I wanted it to be easy to use and hold. And so I based the ergonomic design on an airsoft Desert Eagle that I had. So this grip curve is very similar. The angle of the mag is similar. The size is actually very similar. This is a little fatter, but still nice in the hand. The grip scales made it so that it has like width but roundness, and that's kind of nice. And then the third goal was I wanted it to holster easily. And unholstered. I wanted it to be, knowing that this design was planned to be held as a secondary, it needed to be able to sit well in a holster, it needed to be able to be drawn from a holster well and inserted. And that's a big part of the reason it has such a classic pistol design. The firearm industry, they know what they're doing, so it's been designed carefully. There's 200 years of design evolution that you can see there. And so, I'd kind of be a fool not to take some cues from that when I'm trying to achieve some similar goals. One of the big things here for holsterability is that there's little to no room on the back. When you look at the MHP, which is actually small enough to holster in a large holster when you remove this grip and thumb stop. But the problem is, the center of balance of weight is right on the handle. And when you holster it, it wants to wobble around. You need a strap to secure the back. That's true of a Strife too, only it's even worse with a Strife because the mag is even further forward, so your holster has to be even more particularly designed. The Pigeon will fit in any adjustable fabric holster that can fit something this large. So I fit it in some cheap $10 ones I had. This is a knockoff of the Condor vertical holster. I needed a left-handed one, and Condor doesn't make that. As far as size goes, though, I mean, it's really big, but it's also not. It's really big for a pistol, for a sidearm. You know, if we compare it to a double strike, especially without the barrel, this is pretty big. It's fairly large. The double strike is nice because it's so narrow and so tiny, but 2 shots, I mean, and I'm out. Throw it away. It's garbage now, you know, or I have to reload it. And, you know, if we compare it to a hammer shot, it's almost identical length for length of a hammer shot total. It is a little longer in the barrel, but it's narrower. And actually, if we compare a strife to it, it's not that much smaller than a strife, but it's about where the weight is, right? The strife has all of this. This here can't be holstered, all of this back. And you can only holster it, you can holster it like this if you have something that comes up and around, but you still need a strap to hold it. And then you have a mag sticking out, and it's huge. These are heavy, they're big, they won't work. Let's also just take a moment to notice how similar in size the strife and the hammer shot are. We look at the hammer shot like it's a secondary, but it hardly is. But that's the thing about secondaries, right? Is the goal that we want is we want to be able to hold them, well, we use our primary, we want to hold them in a holster or something, and that's why the hammer shot is such a successful sidearm, because all the weight is in the front. There's nothing in the back to flop around, so when it's holstered, and it just stays, and that's really nice. The same is true here. That's how this works too. I guess now I'll get into like the actual features of it, besides just the basic design premise. So the trigger, when you pull it a little bit, it unclicks the switch, and then as you pull, it actuates a mechanical pusher. That's why it's semi-automatic. It has a working slide that is the jam door. It has a slide lock, and I'm going to actually pull up another one to show that, because that's my personal copy, and the slide lock is slightly damaged or something. So you pull this back and kick it up with your thumb. This is the left-handed version, so the slide lock's on the right. I have right-handed versions where the slide lock is on the right, left for your right thumb. You can lock it, check for jams, check for ammo, and then release. It's actually really handy to be able to pull it back so easy and check for ammo. Like, that's the primary thing. It has the aiming things on the iron sights. They're not the most practical, but they do kind of help keeping it lined up easy and fast for quick target acquisition. It's pretty easy to aim. I mean, it's pretty intuitive. It's a pistol. We're all kind of used to that, you know, since we were kids and playing with all of our Nerf guns. The mag release is actually the trigger guard itself, and it's the same L-shaped downward push to release the mag as the MHP. Nice, easy, and ergonomic reload. That is a cut down katana mag, but you can fit full ones. So it breaks up into a lower receiver and an upper receiver, a lot like a real firearm, and actually like the Sita. So to change the battery, you pull off the upper, and the battery actually fits into here. So, you know, you plug it in, you stick that in there, tuck in all the wires under this ledge that I added for that purpose, make sure all the wires are out of the way, and then screw it back in. So it's actually pretty quick and easy to change the battery, but you do still need a screwdriver. I'm just not quite there to the point in my designs where I can have this just slide and come off and it still be reliable. So the way the trigger works is it actually has a spring in the front, so it pulls and it clicks the switch, and then it's actually got an arm in here that pushes on this pivot, this pivoting arm, and that pushes the pusher itself in turn. and it's pushed at an angle. And so that's why it still uses katana mags, but they're pushed at an angle and the wheels straighten it out. It's actually a very simple system. It's a lot like a Raven, but without like a wire and all of that. It's all printed. This is one of my favorite features about the whole thing, actually, is the fact that the whole slide just is the battery tray, and that it just comes off like that. It's really cool. So here. It does require a very strong spring for the trigger to work properly, and you could actually hear mine not quite clicking all the way closed because the spring might have worn out or something might have gotten adjusted as I've been taking it apart and tweaking it and tuning it. So that, I think, covers the basic function. The ways that I think this is useful, it hits about 100 FPS, which is really good. So the cage and wheel setup can actually top out around 140 FPS with a full-length Elite dart. So, you know, let's say 120, 130 with an AccuFake. We do have a velocity drop because of using half darts, but in my experience, half darts actually go further at any given velocity and more accurately. So I don't really see a problem with that. There's probably also some minor loss of FPS because of the straightening. The wheels are losing velocity because they have extra contact as the darts go in at an angle and push through. But again, I think it's minor, and it's also a matter of what this is designed to do. It is not, just like the MHP was never meant to be a secondary, this was never meant to be a primary. You could, if it was allowed for HVZ, I bet it would be a good HVZ blaster. Very compact, very small, easy to reload. You can hold a ton of ammo with katana mags, and it's semi-automatic. It's also low velocity, so it's safe for, you know, something like HVZ, you know. But it wasn't designed to be a primary. It wasn't designed to hit hard. I don't really care if it does. What I care about is that it works reliably, that it's, you know, got a highish rate of fire, and that I can holster it so that it's stable and secure while I'm running something else like my Spring Thunder or anything else for that matter. My loadout has changed substantially because of this. Pretty much, like I said to someone, it's like a Russian doll of loadouts, you know. We have the Pigeon, and then we have the belt, and then we have the rig or whatever. So I can always drop my primary down to this. And that's something I never really thought I'd do, because I haven't even run secondaries for a long time, because they're kind of pointless if they're not useful. Like, I mean, when I'm running this, it's 2 shots, and then it's like garbage. But even then, you know, you get your 1 shot. Okay, I shot. Oh, I missed. No matter how good you are at this, it always moves off target. This doesn't, you know. This is, depending on the trigger's pulling technique and skill, this will never leave your target. So it kind of fills a niche role. I wanted a tactical sidearm, and I went to great lengths to make it happen, and I actually think it worked. I'm shocked, I'm really pleased, and I'm really happy. So that kind of sums it up, but then, you know, there's one last thing to talk about, and that's how will you get it. But so Adrian Ward's Kickstarter is probably the primary source of wheels after that, so that he can get a very large bulk order done. He will be selling them out of Australia. They should be affordable and you know, easy to drop in. You know, you can do more than just a Pigeon. You know, you can do the deploy, you can do the recon, you can do a long strike. So you'll probably, maybe you'll want to get a couple sets. Maybe you'd be interested in making it happen. So I will be releasing the files when that is available. There's not too much point in being able to print it when you can't use it without the wheels. And they do need to be machined. It's just kind of the unfortunate reality of that they're spinning at 65,000 RPMs to get that kind of velocity in such a small package. It takes quality materials to make that so. The other thing is I will be making and selling them on my Etsy, which is MHP Arms. I have sold out. I won't be doing very many custom orders anymore. What I will be doing is producing them and then assembling them and then shipping them out when people purchase them. So that means that the lead time will be both less and higher, because you won't be able to back order it. But then if when you get on and you see it, if you buy it, you will get it within like a week or two instead of like a couple of months. This first batch has taken me a couple of months to get going. I've had problems sourcing wheels. I've had sourcing the springs. Just finding everything that I need to make it work has been difficult. So that is probably the way that I'll do it. That also is something that I will be selling things periodically, so go find my store and favorite it, and it'll send you an email when new things are up if you're interested. It won't be cheap. The Pigeon is going to be like $185 plus shipping, which is pretty high, but then it's a lot to print, it's a lot to assemble. I'm doing all of the work for you, and the files will be available, so you don't have to spend that much money. And I don't want you to feel like you have to. I don't want to put this behind a paywall. I want it to be accessible. It's big. It's about 11 inches long, so you'll probably need like a CR10 or 12-inch print bed to print it easily. My friend did manage to print one on a Prusa. I have no idea how. Single pieces, whole thing. But so I don't know. I don't feel like these things should be exclusive. I want them to be easy to get and make. But I also can't cut down my price too much, because the work that goes into both designing and building these and printing them and testing them and the wasted prints and the quality control, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. I don't want to be like Captain Slug and just every waking hour is making caliburns, and so I'm only going to make what I can and sell those. So if you want one from me, you'll just have to keep an eye out for it. I will also probably be making MHPs, possibly some rifles and things too. I don't know. It kind of depends on how much time I can get, because I only have the one printer, and what I love doing is not making the same thing over and over. I like making new things. I want to keep prototyping and making new designs. And so, I've been working on, I've made the MHR, which is an ACR rifle, like Winter's Breath, but all printed. The files for that are actually up on Thingiverse. And I've been working on the MHP Mark II, which is actually what I am probably the very most excited about besides the Pigeon. It should be a lot better, a lot easier to print. I will make a video on that when it happens. So, stay tuned for that. And, thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support, guys. It really means a lot to me.